going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon NFL DFS video. This one, if you're coming over from the quarterback video, this one is for the running back video. So we're going to rank the top 10 running backs, how they did last week. We're going to look at their matchup this week, and we're going to go from there. So these are all encompassing. We have a ton of running backs on here. These will change. So if for whatever reason you're seeing this video before the quarterback video, check out the other videos on our channel. We're going to go through all of them. So these will change depending on when you watch this video. These are rankings as of Wednesday afternoon. Thursday night game comes, goes away. Rankings will shift a little bit. Rankings will be updated Sunday morning, usually pretty early Sunday morning, and we get those out there to show you things have changed throughout the week. So we've got practice, you got game time decision players, you've got questionable players, you got players that sat out all week, but now they went through Friday practice, walked through on Saturday, now they're playing. A lot of things can have changed by the time this video is shot and uploaded. So that being said, be on the lookout for that. Come back on Sunday mornings, not video, just come back to the article. This article will be down below. Also, we do have a 200-person DraftKings Fantasy Football League, weekly league, $10 to enter. Last week we had, I think there's like 20-something people in the league. Only 9 people got their lineups in. We want to do better than that. I want to make it a better community. So if you have not already, the link is down below. Join it, and hopefully bring home the bacon just right under me because I want to take first place. But it is $10 to get in every single week. Get in any week you want. Check it out. Use the information that we have. Also go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com. You can use FTA Plus, $24.99 for a month. We'll get you every single sport we offer. Or you can get through this week, this is the final week for it, the yearly pass, normally $199. You get it for $99 if you use the promo code NFLVIP. So that being said, I wanted to go through here, go through the top 10, and if you have questions, let us know. So, number 1 is Christian McCaffrey. Had a huge day in week 1 on Sunday. Now he's going up against the Rams defense here. So just kind of looking at him, he is the most expensive here at $8,900. But let's take a look at everything we've got. So in that game, 22 attempts, 152 yards, just because Pittsburgh was so bad that they were out there a ton. Had a longest of 65 yards. It was a rumbling and a bumbling. Had a touchdown. Had 3 receptions on 5 targets for 17 yards, along with no touchdowns there. Did have a fumble, though. Pretty big fumble, so we could have even seen more. But we got 28.9 fantasy points out of him at 8,700, and he's only gone up 200 since then. Now, just like I said in the quarterback video, obviously all of this information can be used. We have a matchup tool, which has every single player you can think of, fantasy relevant-wise, on it, going up against the defense, how many points, everything, yards, everything they gave up. That is down below. Or you can go to FantasyTeamAdvisors.com and click on the MLB tab, and it'll be under the NFL tab. It'll be under the NFL tab there as the Bacon Station. So the NFL Bacon Station is our matchup tool that we build out every single week. So go check that out as well. So just looking at this, the Rams had a pretty good defense. They ranked 4th overall in week 1, so 4th overall for the season. Or no, that's their passing. Their rushing, they gave up 85 yards last week, ranked 11. So there has some room for improvement, but Christian McCaffrey doesn't only run, he also catches the ball and pass blocks. So looking at this, I absolutely love McCaffrey here. Yes, you're going to be paying a premium for him at $8,900, but he should be worth it in this matchup. I really like him in week 2. Number 2 is Nick Chubb. Did let us down a little bit last week. Not a ton to go with there, but we can't use him in the main lineup. I believe he is on Monday Night Football, but I've got him number 2 right now. Let me get that up real quick. All right, I needed to get the Thursday through Monday slate up there so you could see it. So Nick Chubb coming in, 8,100, coming off 19.7 fantasy points his first game. You can see that he had 18 attempts for 106 yards. Would have liked to have him more, so he was our number 1. It was honestly, last week when I was going through it, it was between Nick Chubb and McCaffrey, and I just liked Nick Chubb's chances better. Didn't come through as much, but still had a really good game at 19.7 in that drudging of just Joe Burrow and the Bengals. They had nothing for the Browns last week. Coming into this matchup here, going up against he's going up against Pittsburgh here. Pittsburgh gave up a ton of rushing yards in week 1 to Cincinnati. 188 rushing yards a game. They rank 30th of 32. So, I mean, again, it's a small sample size. We know that. It's one game. The weather wasn't that good. They were up on Cincy, so they ran it more. If we can see that here, if it's kind of if Pittsburgh offense and defense plays exactly like they just played in week 1, Nick Chubb could be in store for a huge game. We could see Nick Chubb have McCaffrey's numbers from week 1. So I do have him at number 2 on the week. Again, it's going to be one of those with Kareem Hunt out of the picture. It's really Nick Chubb, and you don't have to worry about Kareem Hunt vulturing any touchdowns there. I do like me some Nick Chubb at number 2 at 8,100. Overall, Pittsburgh ranks 27th defensive rank. So, number 3 is Derrick Henry at the Chargers. So, which Derrick Henry are we going to get? So, he did put up some, per his price, he didn't have the best game. He had 15 attempts for 63 yards. The problem was when they got down there, Tannehill decided he was going to throw 3 interceptions. 63 yards is not enough. 13.9 is not a lot for him, but he is going up against the Chargers this week. His matchup, they gave up 70 yards last week. They ranked 6th overall against the rushing defense. And then overall, total defense, Tennessee is the worst ranked defense here. So that would bode well if you're looking he would obviously need to get more involved in the passing game a little bit more. He has that 200-yard game in him. It'll happen sometime this year. Not saying it's going to happen this week, but we do like Derrick Henry here. Again, when we go through all of these, it does not mean these are all this is how we're playing out. So a lot of things can happen throughout the week. There could be games that we feel more confident about. We could see more rain, kind of like we saw a lot in week 1, where the game plans and the game script will say something different. So again, that is why I have you come back on Sunday to see how our rankings have changed. So number 4 is Bijan Robinson. Now this one might be a little bit different for you. Just kind of look at this game log wise. 56 yards last week, 6 receptions on 6 targets for 27 yards and a touchdown. He did have 20.3, but Tyler Algier vultured out of Bijan Robinson. So this is the only problem here, because looking at how the game's set up against Green Bay, if Atlanta is down early, then we could see them throwing the ball. Whether or not that gets them in the passing game with Bijan, I don't know. But it's going to really say, hey, this is kind of the Bijan. Now, we didn't think this before week 1, but Bijan and Tyler Algier are kind of like Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, or last year Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. It's 1A and 1B. Hopefully, it works out for us. Hopefully, whichever running back you do end up going with is the one that has the best day, but kind of that's how it's shaken out so far. Until an injury happens or someone breaks out completely and we can guarantee it, I would be cautious using the Atlanta backfield. Kind of just like I'd be cautious with using any wide receiver in this as well. You just really don't know what Atlanta's going to do, and you don't know who's going to get the bulk of the carries or the bulk of the catches in the passing game as well. So number 5 is Saquon Barkley. Now, I had really high hopes for him last week. This is completely on the Daniel Jones and the weather and Dallas D. So they were down they were down the entire game. So they kind of had to abandon the run. And you saw, if the game was close, he would obviously had more than 12 attempts. 12 for 51, 3 receptions for 4 targets for 12 yards. So not a lot was going. He did have I could have swore he had a fumble. He didn't have a fumble? I could have swore he had a fumble. But yeah, they were down 40-0, so early and often they were already throwing the ball. Kind of took out of Barkley's hands completely. He's now going up against Arizona. They give up 92 yards to running backs against Washington, so they kind of split the backfield. This is the guy in New York. We know that as long as he's healthy, he's going to get the ball. I foresee a way better, as long as Daniel Jones doesn't throw the ball away a ton like he did in week 1, we could see Saquon having one of those career-type weeks. So that is why I've got Saquon at number 5. Number 6 is Tony Pollard. Now, we didn't know what we were going to get out of him, and, well, we kind of did. We know he's the running back 1, RB1 on the team, 14 attempts, 70 yards with 2 touchdowns. Now, if you took him for 2 touchdowns in your sports betting, you probably did really well. 2 receptions on 3 targets for 12 yards. So he's the one that had the fumble. It was the other side. It was Pollard that I was thinking of that had the fumble. But he had the fumble. They still had, they were all over him. And then again, they were running him. And once they got up, more and more and up to 40-0, he wasn't going to be in the game. They were going to take him out. They were going to rest him, give the other guys chances because they were in such a blowout game. Now, I don't foresee that game being as a big a blowout, but we definitely could, seeing as how they are going up against the Jets and Zach Wilson. Which Zach Wilson are we going to get? Probably the same Zach Wilson that's been on the team last year that didn't do too well. A reason they brought in Aaron Rodgers. So, that being said, Tony Pollard here at 7,500. In that same range for running backs, I do like him a little bit better. I like his matchup a little bit better than I do against Derrick Henry. And I do kind of like Tony Pollard a little bit more than I do Bijan. So get that little bit of savings of 400 on DraftKings if you want. So I do have Tony Pollard here at number 6. Number 7 is Travis Etienne Jr. He's 6,900 going up against Kansas City. As we saw in week 1, as long as he's versatile, Kansas City was giving up some yardage there. So Kansas City in week 1 gave up 118 rushing yards to Detroit. Now, between Montgomery and Gibbs, we could see that. Now, it's kind of the same thing here. Like, Etienne and Tanks Bigsby could be in store for something like that. I do like Etienne a little bit more here. Kansas City rush defense is 24 ranked. Overall, Kansas City's defense is 8th ranked. They did sign Chris Jones back. I mean, they needed to after getting embarrassed on national television in week 1. But in that game in week 1 for Etienne, 18 attempts, 77 yards, 1 touchdown, 5 receptions on 5 targets for 27 yards. So if he could get both of those, if he could get those numbers, 21.4 at 6,900, he has not moved. That was against Indy's defense. Now he's going up against Kansas City, has a little bit better matchup here. So I do like Etienne here at number 7. Number 8 is Josh Jacobs. I really had no idea what to expect out of Josh Jacobs in week 1 after the holdout coming in, practice, getting through there. But what did we see out of him? 19 attempts for 48 yards, 2 receptions on 3 yards for 2 receptions on 3 targets for 23 yards. So he did underperform here, 9.1 fantasy points. He is now going up against a Buffalo defense that in last week gave up 172 rushing yards, ranked 29th in rushing. Again, it's week 1. I understand that. And overall, their defense is ranked 22nd, so it's in the bottom third of defenses this week, or for the year so far. So, again, it's one game. I understand these numbers are going to correlate. They're going to start evening out. Right around week 6 is when we can kind of get a huge feel for it. So, looking at this, 9.1 is not enough, obviously, out of him. At 7,100, we're looking at least, hopefully, in the 15 to 16 fantasy point range as a floor. So, that is kind of what we're looking at here as a floor. If you want to see all of our projections, fantasyteamadvisors.com is the place. Under the NFL tab, you can see NFL DFS player projections. Should be the first tab under NFL. That is where you can find it. Hopefully, that is where all of our projections are going forward. You use that on top of everything else. So we have our bacon. We've got, so looking at this, under NFL, we've got the FTA NFL DFS chalk. So it's normally about the top 10 And then wide receivers, I think it goes up to top 20 of the players, and the chalk, or, when people say, here's the chalk plays, these are your cash plays. So you can kind of see, and you can kind of get a better feel for it if you play the Thursday through Sunday slate or Thursday through Monday slate, because you can kind of see when people build their lineups out, you can kind of get a feel for the data that we can scrape to see the ownership percentages. And that's kind of what we do. So we're showing you that, and we plan on showing ownership percentages on the website as well. Along with, we've got player projections, Vegas odds, our cheat sheet, which will have stacks in our cheat sheet, our Bacon Station, which is our matchup tool, the chalk, the wide receivers versus cornerback matchup, and the NFL prop bets. We are going to probably do a couple more things, but again, I need you guys' input. What are you guys looking for in these videos or from us? I definitely need to see that. So get that down below. So Josh Jacobs, wallet number 8. I don't know how heavily I'll be invested in him, but I will have some exposure to him. Number 9 is the question mark, is the Austin Eckler. So we know we had Austin Eckler high last week. I understand that. Came through, got a touchdown, but he did leave the game, or left week 1 with an injury designation. So he's dealing with an ankle injury. He has his own podcast, and he's very transparent. He plays fantasy as well. He is very transparent with his injuries, unlike other players. He says it's no big deal. We've got to take his word for it. Probably, I could definitely see he's going to be questionable, probably questionable all week. He'll probably have a good game. He'll be one where Eckler's been around the block. He knows what he's capable of. If he's hurt, he won't practice throughout the week. He'll get in there. He'll have a dominant game. So I've got him there at number 9. Last week against Miami, in that game, 16 attempts for 117 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 receptions on 5 targets for 47 yards, a total of 29.4 fantasy points. I absolutely love this matchup here against Tennessee. Tennessee, overall, they only gave up 69 yards last week. 5th ranked, so they're pretty good there. But it's Austin Eckler. He is better than just your average running back who only runs the ball. He also pass catches as well. So I do have Austin Eckler at number 9. And finally, number 10, Kenneth Walker, KW the third, coming in at 5,800 against Detroit. Now, looking at this, we saw last week 12 attempts, 64 yards, 4 receptions on 5 targets for 3 yards. So didn't really do much at all with 3 yards. 10.7 fantasy points there. They have dropped him down to 5,800. Going up against Detroit. Detroit did give up 90 yards in week 1 to Kansas City running backs. So we know that could be in store for a good game for Walker. People are going to be down on him because that's what he did last week. Now he's 5,800. He is a cheaper option. He is probably a tournament-only option for DFS purposes. But again, this is one where we can so he has a groin issue going into the game. Then people thought, hey, what about Charbonnet? He might take over. I saw a lot of Charbonnet talk preseason. Coming into that game, 3 attempts on 11 yards. And it was a closer game at first. And then it got out of hand. And then, with games getting out of hand, they're probably going to just abandon the run a lot quicker. That's kind of what we saw. So Charbonnet is not an option for me at 4,500. You've got Charbonnet at 4,500, and then you've got the actual starter at only 5,800. So you can see there's not a lot of difference there. So that is definitely why I've got Kenneth Walker number 3. Again, a lot of things can change. He does have a groin problem, but it should be, we're kind of monitoring that situation. Doesn't have the questionable tag this week. Doesn't have an injury designation as of the making of this video, but definitely pay attention throughout the entire week. That is why I'll tell you, click on the links down below in the description of this video, and also check out fantasyteamadvisors.com Sunday mornings, because that is when the updated rankings are out. After all this junk is gone, after walkthroughs, after press, after the game days are there, that is when we'll know moving forward how confident to be. Yes, we're going to have some game time decisions where it's going to come down to warm-ups. I get that. And there's nothing I can change about that. But hopefully we're able to make you a better DFS player with our rankings, with our tools that we have over at FantasyTeamAdvisor.com. And that is the top 10. If you want to see all of them, we got all the way down, 118 of them. You can check the article out down below. Good luck in week 2 with your running back selection. Let's bring them some bacon together. Peace!